What's up, guys? So with school just around the corner, I wanted to make one of those fancy chalkboard first day of school signs. So of course I like to DIY everything, so I will be doing this myself as well. So I've designed something for you guys, and you can go ahead and head over to my blog and grab the free file that I'm going to be working with. Okay, so let's get started. I've already uploaded my files into Cricut Design Space, so you'll see that I have them here. Now, I've separated this into two different files because the chalkboard that I am using is 16 by 20 inches. So my Cricut will not be able to cut this on one mat. So I've done this in two different pieces. This is also how you can do other larger than mat projects, so you can kind of use the same process that I'm using here for that. So follow along with me and you will see what I mean. Now on my blog, in the file that you can download, there is also a file that has this combined in just one layer. So if you are using something that's smaller, then go ahead and use that so you don't have to cut it out twice, right? It'll save you an extra step. So let's load these in. Before we start working on this, I'm going to show you exactly how you load this in. So when you are bringing the file into Cricut Design Space, the files that I have for you are PNG files. So when you load this in, we do need to click on a few things before it'll upload it for us. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is bring the file in. Now, the other thing you're going to notice is with the SVG file itself, it's going to try to load in like every single one of these little dots. So it might take a long time to attach everything together, okay? Which is another reason why I have this PNG file for you guys to use. It just loads in a little bit faster, so you're not waiting and waiting and waiting, which I noticed was an issue with the learning mats that we did. So anyways, you're going to hit complex on the first screen. And here you don't need to do anything. It is already a transparent background. You're going to want to hit continue, and then you want to save this as a cut image. Okay, don't save this as a print then cut image, because we're not printing anything. We're just going to be cutting this out. So save it as a cut image, and once you hit save, you should see exactly what I have here on this screen. Now, once we load it in, let's take a look now. Once we load it in, let's zoom out a little bit. So I have sized these files to 16 by 20. I find this is a very good size for these chalkboard frames because it's big enough that it'll show up in pictures quite nice. But I mean, once again, work with what you have. So yeah, so we've got the top part and the bottom part here. And if I drag this down, oh, that's the top part. If I drag the bottom part down here, you'll notice that I have these little rectangles on both layers, okay? And that's for alignment purposes for when we actually cut this out. So it'll be easier to align it, because otherwise, your dots are going to be uneven and it's going to look wonky. So I like having everything straight. So this will make it much easier for when we go to set this down on our actual chalkboard. So leave those in, but you can kind of ignore them for now. Now, the only thing you really need to do on this screen is add a name, okay? So see my other videos, my daughter's name is Olivia, and the font I'm going to be using for this project is called Watershed. So I will have these links all in the description, so check that out. All right, so we've got Olivia's, and I'm going to change the font. One thing I'm going to mention, which I mentioned in every single one of my videos when you are working with fonts, is when you download fonts, you need to exit out of Cricut Design Space and open it back up to see the font in Cricut Design Space, okay? Otherwise, it won't show up. So you're wondering, like, I downloaded it and I set it all up, but for some reason it's not there. That's why. Okay. And the other thing that is really annoying with Cricut Design Space is that it always spaces out your letters like this. So we have to make some adjustments. So our text actually connects. So I'm going to do this. And now the problem is that you see my apostrophe S here is kind of too close. So I'm going to make this two different layers. Let's duplicate that. And I'm going to erase this. Do that. We're going to manually put that together, okay? So what I'm going to do is align this first. I'm going to adjust this back to 1. And quick trick, guys, if you want to make sure this is in the same line, use the alignment tool. I love this thing. So I'm going to do align bottom, and that should be aligned there on the bottom, which is awesome. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is group this, because it is going to be one unit that I'm playing around with, because I want to adjust the text size here. So I'm going to make that probably around there. And this is how I want it to look. So I think that looks pretty good. Now the other way we can make sure that this is actually centered is if you select these layers, and once again you go to align, and you can center horizontally. See, it'll move that over for you, right? Now it's actually perfectly centered, because I was kind of eyeballing it, but now it's actually perfectly centered, which is awesome. Okay, cool. And all we need to do next is we need to weld, because we want to make sure all the letters are actually going to cut out as one piece and not separate letters. This one we can leave because there's nothing to attach. And next we are going to grab the text and the top layer, because that's going to cut out on one mat, and the bottom one is going to cut out another mat. So we're going to attach everything on top, and the bottom we can leave because it's already one piece. All right, now the other thing you could do is you could design all your other things in here. So if you don't want to make this like, if you want to just type everything in right now and cut them out in different colors of vinyl, you can definitely do that. I plan on using this as a reusable blackboard, where I'm going to personally write these things in. So I'm not going to do that step, but if you wanted to play with that, play with that. And yeah, next all we need to do is go to make it. And you will notice we have 2 mats here. So we've got, this is the top half here, and this is the bottom half here. And because the length here is that 16 across, right? Then it's like you're gonna need the larger mat. So what you can do is, if you don't have a 12 by 24 mat, you can tape 2 12 by 12 mats together, just like flip one upside down sort of thing. And you can tape those together and cut it out. Otherwise, if you have a 12 by 24 mat, that is perfect. Okay. So we don't need to mirror this here. We're putting this exactly on top of our blackboard. And yeah, let's go cut this out. And then I am going to show you how I make sure this is straight on my blackboard when I set it down. Okay, so we are ready to make our cut. I just wanted to show you real quick how I prepare my mat for my Cricut machine. So I've got my 12 by 24 mat here, and I've cut my vinyl to size. So this is like 12 by 16. And I'm going to place it on my mat. Now here's a quick trick of how I place it on my mat. What I actually do is I flip it on the side like this, and instead of usually, you know how you usually put the vinyl down kind of like this, I find it's really difficult to do that when you have like such a large piece. So what I do is I actually start from the side, and I kind of just lay it on top really, really lightly until I get my line. So it won't stick yet, right, until you press it down. So I'm going to line up my corner there. So I've got both sides, and then I'll press that down, and I'll use that scraper to go all the way across. There we go. And now we'll go ahead and make our cut. And when you're done, you're going to want to weed this out. So I actually cut this on premium vinyl twice. I am using the Cricut premium vinyl for my vinyl here. It doesn't cut nicely the first time through, so I did a double cut with that. I'm gonna play around with my second one here to see if I can find a better setting, but that's what I've done with my first cut here, and I'm pretty happy with how that cut out. Because as you can see, as I peel this off, right, everything just kind of falls out, which is perfect. So I'm gonna go through that and weed that, and then we will go ahead and set that on our chalkboard. All right, guys, so I have weeded out, I've cut and I've weeded my layers here. And yeah, you'll notice that I actually cut like these empty spots out just to save some vinyl so I can use those scraps for other projects. You don't have to do that, but I just thought it would be a waste to use, it'd be a waste to throw that out because as you can see there was quite a bit of blank vinyl there that we could use. All right, so the next step that we're going to do is we're going to make our actual chalkboard, okay? So I looked into a few different things. I looked into reverse canvas, I looked into just buying a chalkboard, and I still found this to be the most economical solution, as well as just the best one in terms of how quick you can do it and how easy it is to do it and the cost and all of that. So what I've done here is I've taken, this is a poster board that I got from, the dollar store. It was $1.50, as you can see there. And it's the perfect size, lengthwise this way, for this template. So it's 20 inches tall, and then all we need to do is cut it to size for our width here, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and make that cut. And once I have that, what I'm going to do is take it outside and I'm going to spray it with chalkboard paint. So I'm using the Krylon chalkboard paint, and I'm going to do a coat on both sides because what I'm going to do is we're going to have the one side as, you know, her first day of school, and then the back side will be her last day of school, so it's dual purpose and you have just the one board for both, okay? So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and spray both sides, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to apply the vinyl next. All right. Okay, so my board has been sprayed. So I've got my chalkboard is prepped now and ready to go. I want to just make a comment that when you are spraying this, don't do what I did, which if you look on this side, I don't know if you can see in the camera there, there's a lot of wrinkles on this side, and that's because I got impatient and I kind of drenched it, which it does tell you in the can not to do. So do it in thin layers and you'll get this nice chalkboard look versus this side, which is all kind of like rippled and wrinkled because I was not very patient with that. Okay, so now let's get this on our board, okay? Now the thing for me is we want to make sure this goes on straight, right? So I'm going to show you a technique that I use to make sure that this is going to go on straight. And it's pretty straightforward. You guys are going to be surprised at how easy it is, but you'll see how I'm going to do this, okay? Now, I could use the Cricut transfer tape, but I'm actually going to be using contact paper, and this is from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to be using this one instead because these rolls actually come in 18 inches long, so I can just cover the whole thing, which will be nice. So I'm going to cut this to size, and then I'm going to put it on and transfer it, and I'll show you what I do from there. Okay, so I've left the backings on for the contact tape, and it's now transferred over. And now we're going to do some quick measurements. So what we're going to do is take a ruler and line it up to the spacing here. I'm going to draw some lines here. Okay, now I'm going to draw some lines on my chalkboard with chalk. So I'm just going to make a little line notches here so I know where I should be drawing those lines. Okay, and once again with my ruler, I'm going to make sure this is all lined up and straight. All right, now we can start laying it down. So what I'm going to do is peel back from the side here. And I'm going to line up these lines to these. Okay, and now for the bottom part. Now we have these little tabs to line it up. So all we need to do is peel this back just a little bit. And line up our tabs. And there we go. You've got to make sure you remove the tabs. And that's it, guys. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye!